So let's check out these stages on the polysomnography. Note your eye movements when you are awake. It is very active as you observe the world around you. Note the EMG when you are awake. There is high muscle tension in the chin, the jaw, the neck area. Note your brain activity, the EEG. Beta waves are predominant. These are the smallest voltage, so that would be the wave height, right? And the highest frequency, the wavelength. These are what kind of waves? Beta waves. Now, stage one, moving to stage one, see the reduction of eye movements to just occasional rolling ones, very slow rolling eye movements. Okay, this is characteristic of stage one, and you'll see that those curves are more rounded. See the reduction to very moderate EMG, and see the change of brain activity, a little higher in voltage, a little lower in frequency. These are theta waves. Theta waves. So higher voltage, lower frequency as you fall deeper and deeper asleep. Now stage two. A lot is happening here. It's a really interesting stage. Notice no eye activity. What we see here is not a blink. Okay, so let me see if I can get this on my cursor right there. What you see there is not a blink because it is not symmetrical. So it's just a reaction from the K complex in the EEG below. So notice this great big K complex going on here in the EEG. Remember that K complexes in sleep spindles are characteristic of stage two, the best way to recognize it. See, the EMG remains moderate. And finally, the EEG, we have mixed waves, right? All different kinds of waves, not one kind predominant. We do see a K complex here, and we also see a sleep spindle. The best way to identify N2 again are the appearances of sleep spindles and K complexes. So sleep spindles presumably also occur in N3, but they are not discernible on an EEG. So it's a great clue. When you can see them on an EEG, it's got to be N2. Now, N3, slow wave sleep. This is your deepest, your best sleep. No real eye movements, right? Look at that closely. And still moderate EMG only. But look at the slower, high voltage, lower frequency waves. So those are delta waves. These are the highest voltage, the lowest frequency. Now let's look at REM. Wow, eye movement is all over the map here, right? Notice there is no discernible EMG, but look at the EEG. See why these waves are called sawtooth waves? That notched appearance? If you compare that with awake, and N1, 2, they actually most closely resemble awake. But the best way to tease them apart from awake or N1 are these sawtooth waves. And there's no discernible EMG because of something called sleep paralysis. REM sleep paralysis is also known as the REM sleep atonia system, ATONIA. This is the necessary blockage of final nerve pathways from the spinal cord to the muscles in your body. This is the reason why you don't usually act out your dreams. Want to test someone's REM atonia system? Tap a sleeping partner's knee during NREM, non-REM. It will elicit a reflex and perhaps an expletive if you wake them up. But if you do so in REM, it will not produce that reflex. So if REM involves sleep paralysis, why do you still see an EMG line at all? Why do you see one even though it's really thin here during REMS? Well, there are three necessary exceptions: the diaphragm, your need to breathe, your extraocular muscles, those are completely unaffected by REM sleep, thus you get those eye movements, and your smooth muscles. They support the tissue of hollow organs like the stomach, the intestines, the bladder, etc. Also know that REM sleep is usually interrupted every 5 minutes or so by movement of a limb or a minor shift in position. This causes the polysomnography to go crazy. Basically, all channels are obliterated for a second. So as far as you're training and reading a polysomnography, know that it is perfectly normal to see this every 5 minutes or so in REMS, and it is simply movement artifact. Also in REM, recall that there is a routine kind of non-sexual testing of sexual function. All healthy males experience 3 to 5 erections in the night associated with REM sleep. In fact, when men suffer from erectile dysfunction, the first question that must be answered is this physical? Should he go to see a medical doctor? Or is it psychological? Should he go to see a psychologist? This can be answered in a sleep lab with electrode placements. If there are erections associated with REM sleep, then this indicates a psychological problem. If not, then a medical problem. Females experience a similar non-sexual testing of sexual function during REM sleep, though it's less known and less studied, likely simply because it is less noticeable. It doesn't, excuse my pun, stand out so much. Females experience clitoral engorging, where blood is drawn to the clitoris and the clitoris swells, and increased vaginal lubrication. What else is going on during REM sleep? Recall how brain activity during REM more closely resembles wakefulness than any stage of NREM sleep. The brain is highly active during REM sleep. In fact, there is evidence that brain activity may even be higher in REM than when awake. In one way, this is surprising. In another, not, because you are not only trying to make sense of and react to your dream environment, but you are also creating it. Also, respiratory and heart rate drop significantly during non-REM sleep, but are at their peak during REM. In fact, especially for those who live a sedentary lifestyle, their REM sleep may represent the highest heart rates of their circadian cycle, the full 24 hours, wake and sleep. In our next segment, we're going to look at the cycle of these stages, the cycle and the sequence.